Zion. I was lost, but now I'm found. I'm a child of Israel. I heard the sound. You hear the sound. Please give me the strength to stand today. With my eyes towards the east, show me the way to Zion. I'm on my knees, laying my life on the line. I'm begging, please don't let me fall. Give me the strength. Place my feet, Lord, guide my path. Show me the way to Zion.
That's right, to Zion, brothers and sisters. I'm Elder Rick Shaw of the Gathering of Christ Church, here with our weekly update before transitioning over to Patreon. Okay. Now today, what we're going to do, we're going to make sure through our loyal Patreon members that we're going to open up the phones early so that they can chime in, give us an insight on what's going on in your particular area. Do you understand and see the New World Order's Mark of the Beast system progressing in your area? Okay. What have you been noticing there, and what have you put in place to actually get through Jacob's trouble, which is synonymous with the Mark of the Beast system? So I'm going to be opening up the phone so we can talk to our loyal Patreon members and go in, have some interaction, discuss what's going on in your particular area. And hopefully we can find ways, even if you don't have a church, to get you in contact with a regional elder to be guided through these times. Okay, I'm Elder Rick Shaw, the Gathering of Christ Church, and usually once a week I do an update on A Gathering 144, this YouTube page, before transitioning over to Patreon. Okay. And make sure, brothers and sisters, that you check that you haven't been unsubscribed from this channel, because there's going to be a lot of reports coming out that that you'll need to know. You'll need to know on a weekly basis what's really going on outside of the mainstream inundation of New World Order indoctrinational news. Indoctrination news. Now, so I'm going to be transitioning over in a moment, but let me let y'all know what we're going to be discussing. What'll be discussed there. All right. Now, if you're interested in becoming a loyal Patreon member, Patreon A Gathering 144. Okay. One moment. I'll call you at the church. If I need something, I'll call you. I'm broadcasting.
Okay, no problem. You at the church right now?
Oh, no, I'm broadcasting. Patreon.
Okay, take it. Sorry about that.
I'll call you. Bye-bye. All right, that's on me. Okay, I should have made sure this was off. Jumping right in because I want to segue before 2:30. As you can see, there's a lot going on in the news. If you're interested, as you can see, you can go to Patreon/A Gathering 144. Every Friday, I'll be going over there. And if there's any content that we cannot actually publicize on this channel, I'll upload it there at A Gathering 144 through Patreon. Okay? In respect of YouTube guidelines, if there's something we need to say that that can't be said on this platform, usually you can find it there, okay? Okay, and we'll always keep it at the minimum for Patreon, so don't worry about that. And we thank you for being loyal Patreon members. Now, jumping right in before we segue over, okay? Before it's segued over, keep in mind the unsubscribing people from this channel, subscribe, hit the bell, and tell YouTube after clicking the bell that you will allow all notifications from this particular channel. Okay, these are all the steps and the hurdles, the gymnastics, the cyber gymnastics they have everyone going through now. Okay, usually if you subscribe to someone, automatically YouTube knew that you wanted notifications from them. But now they've put all these little cyber gymnastics in place where you have to subscribe, then you have to hit the bell, and then once you hit the bell, you have to say, okay, I would like to receive all notifications. So make sure you do that. All right. Now jumping right in. That's right. It's the Gathering of Christ Church, and we're going into the Sabbath tonight. And as you can tell, there's a lot of weird things going on with the weather. Look up weather warfare. You can understand what's happening with HAARP and all those things. And I believe we can freely talk about that right now. Anyway, you see the title. California test mark of the beast. Test the mark of the beast systems. Okay, if you want to know what's going to get rolled out in the earth from the so-called New World Order, you must what? That's right. You must follow the progressive satanic laws that are passed through California law. Okay? When it came to the what you would call the gay parades before there was letters and all that, it started really over in California. When it came to the so-called civil marriages that they felt discriminated against same-sex people not being able to inherit like normal husband and wives and families inherit assets or whatever after death. That was the excuse, partnerships and all whatever. The partnership, like a marriage law, was first, that's right, approved through California. Okay? Every progressive move that eventually catches on from state to state starts in California. So we must watch California carefully concerning the next phase of the mark of the beast. All right. As you can see, New York and California was the most progressive in pushing lockdowns for the last couple of years. These liberal, that's right, campaigns. Liberal is synonymous with evil. Okay? So when you hear these words liberal, it means nothing at all to you on the surface, but really it's do it thou will. The freedom to break God's law is what liberalism stands for. Do it thou will. And it's a shame that we as a people, the children of Israel, black people, have allowed our image, our face, to be attached to liberalism. Okay? They've allowed somewhere down the road, they decided that they was going to hook all what's evil to us. And so that when these liberal, progressive, I would say destructive laws that would destroy a society, when the people realize how wicked it is and evil and begin to push back, automatically they'll push back and begin to attack the face of it. Our people, our face, our image has become the face of liberalism. I don't know how it happened. We all know, but I'm just saying, being facetious. Okay? Think about it. They made us the face of the of the deleting children thing, as if that's something we wanted as a people. All right. They make us the face of the letter people's movement. As if the majority of people who are born in the earth, understand the majority of our people, all people comes from a man and woman coming together according to how God instituted from the beginning. So, here we go. Here we go. What are they pushing and how are they going to have us go hard in the paint for this? Let's check it out. Let's check it out. What are they pushing? What's being pushed? Take a good look at your screen here. All right. Take a good look at your screen. There was a summit, the 2022 summit that they've just had that, no one's talking about right now. The World Government Summit. What is the plan? Okay, what's the plan? Okay. Let's talk about it. Real quick, I'll play this real quick, and then I'll give you an outline of what I'll be covering on Patreon. What's the plan? Let's hear it.
What underpins a world order is always the financial system. I was very privileged. My father was an advisor to Nixon when they came off the gold standard in '71, and so I was brought up with a kind of inside view of how very important the financial structure is to absolutely everything else.
So her father was raised during the Nixon, was amongst the Nixon administration. You have to realize these people, through nepotism, are placed into these high positions to decide our future. I don't know this lady, but I know her initiatives are wicked. Now listen to what she's saying here.
What underpins a world order is
what underpins a world order
always the financial system.
Is always the financial system. See, they use the financial system so that we can't push back and claim that the systems are rigged against the poor. The systems were rigged to keep the children of Israel on the bottom. Right? At one time, it was about cash and carry. If you work hard, pull everything up from your bootstraps. That in the land of the free, you can get anything you want. The only thing that's holding you back is yourself. That's what they claim. Well, we started doing what? Even though it wasn't on the surface legal and all, we started running numbers and doing our own moonshine, making our own economy within the system, and where we didn't have to depend on the other people or the controlling class. We had what? A system within ourselves. And everything we did to economically come up within our own systems was deemed illegal. Eventually, they would say, well, hold up. These people are developing generational wealth, which circulates amongst them. How can we progress the New World Order if they're keeping the money in house? So everything everything that's done amongst these people that can generate generational wealth will be deemed illegal. We'll call it money laundering. Because what? It's not coming back to what? The money changers. We started running numbers and all that in our own communities just to try to do things to try to, embolden ourselves financially. They came up with the lottery. Lottery is a legal system of what? Running numbers. Just totally cut us out altogether. a whole generation under the Biden Act. Under the Biden Act, it separated a whole generation of blacks. Locking our brothers and sisters up for what? Locking them up for selling drugs. Now, I don't agree with that. Drugs is pharma key. It's evil. It's wicked. It shouldn't be. But it was some form of what? It was some form of work that allowed generational wealth to accumulate so that our people can segue into politics and other areas and have the financial fortitude to clean themselves up like the Italians did running drugs. Like the Irish has done running drugs. And the Ish Mafia was able to take money from the streets and turn it into political collateral that would bring generational wealth to their children. But soon as we did it, it was deemed illegal. They came up with terms such as prohibition. Biden, under the Biden law, was locking our brothers and sisters, our brothers up 5 to 7 years for marijuana. Now all the marijuana dispensaries out here are being controlled by the same government, being given to who? Other races of people who didn't pave the way for that industry. Right? Think about it. Now it's legal after locking up a whole generation of black men separating families under the Biden Act of 1994. So it's all about economics. It was cash and carry for us for a while. And when they realized that we would put money under the mattress, have money for, don't forget, if Big Mama died or our grandfather died, guess what? Mama would go into the wall or go into the mattress, and the whole wall would be filled with money for the next generation. So they realized we had money circulating amongst ourselves and set up a credit system. A merit system based on your societal spending. They would put a credit number on you, which would bar you out of things like buying houses, buying cars, if you don't have a certain number. Now, at first, we had no idea how that structure worked. It was a brand new structure for us, but it allowed their children to grow financially and get the things our children couldn't under that system until we figured out the credit system. Now, as soon as we started figuring out the credit system, that's what they do, folks. They watch how far along we are or how far we are in their trickery that actually do what? Destroy generational wealth and stop our people from achieving true equality financially. So as soon as we figured out the credit system and started buying houses, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, the whole thing collapsed. The whole housing market collapsed so that they can restructure again. And now that we have the financial structure in place and know how the game is played, here's the next plan according to their summit.
I was very privileged. My father was an advisor to Nixon when they came off the gold standard in 71, and so I was brought up with a kind of inside view of how very important the financial structure is to absolutely everything else. And what we're seeing in the world today, I think, is we are on the brink of a dramatic change where we are about to, and I'll say this boldly, we're about to abandon the traditional system of money and account.
We are about to abandon the traditional sense of money. Now that our people have caught up, right? As soon as we understand how the game is played, they change the rules.
Abandon the traditional system of money and accounting and introduce a new one.
And introduce another one. That's what the last 2 years was all about. That's what it was all about. Putting a new financial infrastructure in place. And it's deep that One thing that wasn't seen amongst our people is what? Operating with the freedom to travel. We started traveling outside of just vacationing. So they've put things in place where if you have a certain disease that could be accumulated through some of the stuff they've been pushing, that will restrict other countries from allowing sick people in their country.
And the new one, the new accounting, is what we call blockchain. It means digital. It means having a almost perfect record of every single transaction that
a perfect record of every single transaction
happens in the economy, which will give us far greater clarity over what's going on. It also raises huge dangers in terms of the balance of power between states and citizens. In my opinion, we're going to need a digital constitution of human rights. What?
Y'all heard that? Y'all heard that, brothers and sisters. To balance a system with government and citizens, total control over what? Every transaction financially in the earth, which is what? An introduction into the mark of the beast system. For all of you who don't believe the Bible is true and claim it was tampered with, go along with that narrative if you would like. But it's starting to become apparent, brothers and sisters, that the Bible was true concerning our current day living. You can't find this in the Gita, the Egyptian book of the dead. You cannot find this in the Quran. The Bible spoke of this. The heavens presented what the society you're living in right now to John on the Isle of Patmos when he was exiled into the Isle of Patmos by the Romans. The mark of the beast system. What will we be discussing today? What will we be discussing? California is the progressive place, is a progressive state, the telltale state for liberal, which is satanic agendas, including the mark of the beast. So look at what California is doing and understand what's about to be rolled out. Like what? 1,000 LA County families get $1,000 a month for 3 years. Oh, this is going to accumulate. This is going to be about $108 million out of the thin air, which will devalue the dollar and make it where you're putting money into something with no productivity coming on the other end. $1,000, 1,000 LA families, and it's upward to 3,000. It's going to be tested. $1,000 a month for 3 years. Applications opening soon, but they don't have no money for reparations. Now, on the surface, for poor people, this seems like a good deal, isn't it? But it's not just for our people. Okay? And with this $1,000 a month, those who are experimenting this mark of the beast setup must spend the money as directed, must ration according to a system they're going to roll out and eventually put the rest of the world, starting with America too, on it. So it sounds like a good deal for 1,000. But there will be a merit system put in place where it can increase based on your compliance or decrease based on the resistance. Bringing the what? The upper class and middle class down to what? Social welfare is what we'll be talking about today. We'll also be going into the detention centers that's going on right now with a certain people, our people, being placed in detention centers. That's right. The Ukrainian humanitarian narrative mainstream media isn't discussing or talking about. The real humanitarian issue is people like this being moved into detention centers in Poland. Now, the last time I heard during a few world wars, the people in Poland that was being put in concentration camps, the last I heard about that was a humanitarian disaster that should never get repeated on earth against any race of people, right? Oh yeah, are we going in this week on Patreon? Brothers and sisters, y'all see the phone. Y'all see the phone right there. I'm going to open this up. We have a few more articles to read and let you know that the mark of the beast system is being implemented right up under us. And we're going to show you how and discuss how to move through it according to God. That's right. On Patreon. Right now, I'm going to set up the phone calls. Get ready. I would like to hear your perspectives on this, how you're viewing this while the whole world watches Will and Jada. The Most High in the heavens and the angels could care less about some garbage Oscars when they're detaining our people at the same time holding, almost visuals and candles highlighting the humanitarian disaster against white Ukrainians. We're going to talk about this today. So I'm going to get the phone lines ready. I want to hear what you have to say. Are you prepared for a new monetary system? Because they weren't talking about the Rona in this new summit. They've already got enough people with the juice in them. They've already accomplished that agenda. Now it's about controlling people financially, moving into a cashless society. And they even give us what? An insight on how many years that they will beta test it before it's rolled out. 3. Right on schedule, leading to what? That's right. That final jubilee of years. Okay, where it talks about 3.5 years of plenteous and then 3.5 years of hell on earth. I'm going to talk about that in a couple of minutes. Hey, on Patreon. I thank you all for being loyal Gathering of Christ Church members, baptized in the Spirit, following us through this ministry. You have grown with us. You've prayed for us. And I cannot thank the Most High enough for all of you. Keep your prayers out there for us. And you know what? The angels will respond. We all need hedging in this day. And guess what? The Most High says he will set men at the watchtower to blow the trumpet. Because if a watchman is set at the perch and doesn't blow the trumpet, any blood based on the people who weren't warned when the man was called to teach and tell them will be on the watchman. Okay? So that's our responsibility, to be the watchman. You pray that we watch. So that now, if the sword comes and that person get taken on of their own iniquity, it's not on the watchman. The blood will be on those who didn't hear and prepare. With that, shalom, brothers and sisters. I'll type in the Patreon if you'd like to be a part of it. It does support the work. I appreciate that. It's only $5 a month, but we can put content there that cannot be discussed here, unfortunately. All right. But we thank you all. And because I didn't want brothers and sisters to think. That's why I do an update every Friday before Patreon, because I didn't want brothers and sisters to think that I was withholding information for those who would pay $5 on Patreon. That's not the deal at all. Just that certain things we can say there that cannot be discussed here. And that's the reason why, even though I segue to Patreon, I try to give enough information out there even before I go there. Enough information that to let our brothers and sisters understand how close we are, and information that you can still apply and maneuver in this beast system against evil, even if you aren't a Patreon member. That's why I segue, because I want to let you know I appreciate you all. I wish I can discuss it here, but I can't. All right. So with that, I'm going to get the phone lines ready. I want to hear this. I want to hear what you brothers and sisters have to say about all of what's going on. That's right. California has rolled out the Mark of the Beast system. And if you don't think there's anything to it, hey, California progressed what we've seen for the last 2 years. California before that had gay marriage when the rest of the country didn't. Okay? And now look. So they're going to set up a system that's going to sound good on the surface, but will enslave the majority of people who are sleepwalking and believe that this is some form of reparation. Hold tight. We'll be right back. Well, I'll see you on Patreon. Let's type this in. Patreon.com/AGathering144. Okay. So if you're interested, let me see what time it is. All right. I'm past the time, so I got to get there. I should have been there almost an hour ago. So let me go to Patreon. I see you. I see y'all on Patreon, and I'll hear you on the telephones. 515-605-9327. Come on in. Let's talk about it. Shalom. May the Most High be with you. Stay prayed up. Sin not. We're the children of Israel and will soon see Zion. Shalom.
I opened up the book and see that the apple of your